There is a lot of excitement in here. Get it all out, right?
Soak it all in.
Soak it all in, get it all out, circulate. Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. We're so glad you're here with us. We have a special celebration. That's a ceremony at the end of celebration where we officially install Lori Carlson as a licensed practitioner. And I'm so grateful that Kim and Linda brought some snacks and goodies and deliciousness, so we'll have coffee and tea, so you're invited to stay for that. Those of you that are online, we're so glad you're with us today. We are celebrating life. We're celebrating our theme for the year, which is living everyday wonder. And for September, it's loving work. And we've dug a little deeper in all the layers and all the different meanings of work. So today we're going to look at that in the context of doing inner work. Because we're all science of mind practitioners. It's not a place you arrive at and then you're done. It's a process. It's a journey, right? We all know that. There's a different element to the journey of becoming a licensed practitioner. And that's why we have Lori here today and we celebrate that. So you'll hear a little bit more about that as well. So today, Reverend Janice is here because she's assisting in the ceremony, so you get to hear her. And Gail is assisting today as one of our beautiful licensed practitioners. And we're celebrating, of course, this idea that as a spiritual community, we each have to get to receive and we each get to give, and that there's a beautiful exchange that is always happening. So those of you that are online, check us out on our website, cslmorristown.org. We have lots of things happening. There's a free introduction class on Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Zoom. And we have a new class starting the week later. This is called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And it's a new class, only 5 weeks. And it's really just a way to deepen your understanding of what the teaching is about. We have flyers over here of anybody that wants to know more. And I want you to know that I have these beautiful signs here because we are doing a wellness fair together with the Brookside Community Church on October 1st. If you have a lawn in the area, you may take one and put one up on your lawn. We have little metal things for it, but if you have any ideas where to put them, you're allowed to put them in public places. I guess I put them on some non-public places because they're already gone. And then I also want you to know that there's a retreat in Maryland that you might want to check out. The flyers are there as well. So let's do our Namaste practice. Namaste is just one word, but it has a huge meaning. It comes from Sanskrit, and it means that the divinity in me blesses the divinity in you. So put your hands together and just bow to somebody. Say namaste. 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 Your baby's smiling. She's smiling. She likes it. You feel it. And we're blessed now to have Gail Belluardo do an opening treatment for us.
So you feel the love, right? Woo! Feel the love. That's God's love. It's all God's love. And God's love is ever present. It is right here, right now, this morning, this day, this time. It is the love that is transformative. It is the love that is part of this celebration and all celebrations everywhere. It is the love divine that flows through each and every one of us. It is wise, it is powerful, it is flowing, and it is here right now. And I know that this special day that we have, this special Sunday celebration, is one where all hearts are uplifted, all minds are open. The science of mind teaching is evident in the way that this service is orchestrated and the way that it is presented. For it is all the love, the light, the truth of God that flows through each one of us. So I bless our time together. I call it good, I call it holy, I call it sacred, I call it joyful. And I surrender this into the universal law of life with faith, conviction, joy, and celebration. And please join me in saying, and so it is. Amen.
Yes, Gail, tell him like it is. So last week, I asked you what chores you loved and what chores you didn't love. And we had this interesting laughter about it, right? And the invitation was to make all chores sacred. And the invitation was the chores that you hate the most, to turn them into a spiritual practice and to make them sacred. I know for sure that that kind of practice is powerful, transforming, and healing. I mean, literally, thinking about cleaning the toilet as a sacred act, as a spiritual practice, changed everything for me. After years of having to clean a toilet in my home with 9 children and my parents, 4 of them boys. Enough said, right? So that was a journey. That's just one chore, right? And so the idea is, like, what if we really think about making everything a spiritual practice? So you might not like to commute in New Jersey. You might especially not like it when you see certain drivers where they shouldn't have a driver's license, in my opinion. But when there's a lot of traffic and you're late. You know, those are just this is just one other example where we can say, wow, I can really turn this into a sacred practice, into a spiritual practice, knowing that it changes everything. I know for sure that when I do my spiritual practice, my commute as a spiritual practice, that it changes not just me, but it changes the whole vibe around me. Have you noticed that? So the idea then is to know that the outer work that we might be doing also is inner work. And that the theme for the month about loving work is coming to a place of loving inner work. Loving inner work. When we love inner work, the work of transforming our consciousness or transforming the beliefs that no longer serve us, it just enriches every aspect of life. Those of you who are our students, those of you who are practitioners and ministers, Lori especially, you know this. You know that when you deeply commit to the inner work of transformation, to really understanding the principles and applying them, especially where life is difficult, is powerful. And it doesn't just transform us. It transforms the world that we live in ways that we can't even fully understand. So what we're doing with this inner work, we're looking at our opinions, and we explore them, because they're just opinions, right? What is that saying? Everybody has an opinion, just like, you know. It's to be willing to look at our beliefs. What is it that I believe about the world, about COVID, about our politics, about myself, about my loved ones, about my history, my experiences? And to be willing to say, okay, some of what I'm experiencing is due to my conditioning. And some of that conditioning just doesn't serve me anymore. It's time for me to create a new story, to look at it differently, to heal that. And it's the same with all of life's challenges. And I find, as a Science of Mind person, that when the challenges are the hardest, I have to know that I have the tools. I have to know that I have the support. I have to know that my consciousness is expanded enough that I can handle it and move through it with grace. And so one of the things that you may have discovered, or maybe you're discovering it right now, is that you can't blame anymore. Damn it. You can't blame anymore, right? And some of the blaming is very subtle. I notice it in myself that sometimes I'm blaming without even realizing I'm blaming until I feel so crappy that I have to look at it and say, I could have had a VA. Right? So what are other things that you've noticed as you apply these principles, as you transform, as you heal, as you grow, what are some other things that you realize you can't do anymore besides blame?
Complain.
Can't complain anymore. Sorry. Yeah, I know complaining is so much fun. Yes, and we can get so much of a ride out of it, but yeah, we can't complain anymore.
Self-sabotage myself.
Yes, we can't self-sabotage anymore. It doesn't work anymore, right? The suffering is too great. What else?
Feel sorry for yourself.
Feel sorry for yourself. You can't feel sorry for yourself anymore. Yeah, you know, and it's like it's okay. It's like, oh, poor me. But then you got to do something with it, right? It has to be a time limit or some kind of a boundary where you go, oh, that's not quite going to work anymore, right? It's not to pile on some self-criticism when we're feeling a complaint or when we're feeling a blame or when we feel self-pity or self-sabotage, but it's noticing and saying, is there anything else?
Self-deception.
Self-deception, yeah. These are all things that we then say, oh, they're grist for the mill. They're an opportunity for me to awaken, to transform, to grow, to expand my consciousness. And so Lori today is the one we celebrate because, yes, we're all examples of this. This is not about comparing, by the way. This is about inspiration, right? But Lori is somebody that I've witnessed doing this. Now, I know she's not perfect. I know Richie thinks she's perfect. Right? Because none of us are. We're all a work in progress. So can we embrace that? But having watched Lori from when she arrived to now is to see a completely different person. And what an inspiration that is. Watching her say, yes, I'll take that class. Yes, I'll do that workshop. Yes, I'll go there. Yes, I'll move through this is just the most powerful, inspiring gift that anyone can give us, right? And so what we're doing is we're celebrating everyday wonder by means of growing in self-awareness, being more conscious, being more proactive, realizing that the places where we're blocked are really our growing edges and that we can overcome those growing edges and be more powerful because of that. So Ernest Holmes says in this thing called You, seek to make your work a prayer. Seek to make your work a prayer. It's not just talking about a job. You get that, right? Seek to make your work a prayer. You're believing an act. You're living an art. It is then that the object of your faith will be made visible to you. It is then that the object of your faith will become visible, will be made visible to you. It's then that you shall kiss the lips of your desire. It is then that you shall kiss the lips of your desire. Life is a sacred practice. And it's interesting, right? Where we divide and say yes, no, this, that. Most of the time, it's not a conscious thing. But the invitation to make it conscious is most empowering and most healing and most revealing. It's knowing that the inner life is the outer life, and the outer life is a reflection of our inner life. It is our vocation. Our vocation is not just our job. Our vocation doesn't end when we retire, because life is a vocation. It comes from the word vocare, the Latin word vocare, which means calling. Each of us have a calling. I always find it very interesting when people say to me, I have no idea what my calling is. And I say, keep saying that. Right? When we say, I don't know how, I don't know what. Do you know that that's a prayer? It's an affirmation that we get to say, wait, oh, I just noticed that I just gave an affirmation I don't really want to give. So I'm willing to know what my vocation is. In the meantime, your vocation is to clean your toilets. And drive your car on New Jersey highways. and deal with a challenging neighbor, spouse, partner, minister, practitioner, neighbor, friend, right? That's all our vocation. It's not here and not there. It's all of it. And so it's about not compartmentalizing, and then to know that all of it is service to the divine. And that when we're in service to the divine, it's in service to us. And we are made free. So it's being love in action. Knowing that love is the foundation of everything. And remembering that. And with all this awareness, all this insight, all that I'm saying, we're already creating a new story. None of you are the same person you were a year ago, even though you think you are. None of you have the same story now as you did 5, 10, 20 years ago. So it's important for us to notice what parts of our story have changed and have become more empowering, more healthy, more joy-filled, more grace-filled, more abundant. And then to allow that to be what sustains us, to get energy from that. To remember that everybody is a mirror for us. So while we celebrate Lori today, Lori is a mirror of our own inner work, our own growth, our own healing. And we get to bless her and celebrate her for that, but we also get to receive the gifts from that. So I occasionally love to go back to Bible stories and Bible quotes. At the moment, I am just obsessed with Mary Magdalene. And I'm learning her story from some different angles, because I realized one day is that, wait a minute, how come in traditional Christian religions she is the bad person? She's the prostitute, the whore, the sinner. While in reality, when we look at the Gnostic Gospels, she was Jesus' closest companion. And as my friend Dr. Karen Kushner says, probably his practitioner. And so I have goosebumps just telling you this, because studying that and digging deeper, because there's a really, what's that in the back when they quote different books, footnotes? There are like 20 more books in the footnotes that I now want to tackle, because I'm just so inspired by her role and how she had a different story and lived that story. But Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says very much what the Science of Mind teaching is about. It says, do not conform to the patterns of this world. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. God's good, pleasing, perfect will. In our teaching, we don't separate our will from God's will, because God is within us. But it's listening to a different story, a truth-based story, truth principles, the essence of spirituality. And so there's this very old Hasidic tale that's been around for a long time. The first time I heard it, I was so moved by it, and I'm sure many of you have heard it, but it goes like this. A rabbi named Zhuzha died and went to stand before the judgment seat of God. As he waited for God to appear, he grew nervous, thinking about his life and how little he had done. He began to imagine that God was going to ask him, why weren't you like Moses? Why weren't you more like Solomon? Or why weren't you David? But when God appeared, the rabbi was so surprised, because God asked him, why weren't you Zhuzha? That's the question I think we are being asked. And I think that question is being asked in life, but also in death. I don't know what happens when we die, but I do believe there's some kind of review. My teacher used to say the review is how much did you love and how much did you learn. Makes sense, right? But I think that we're also being asked to be fully ourselves, to be fully authentic. Not always easy, right? Because those beliefs about shame and guilt and fear can pop in the way. But when we keep asking ourselves, how can I be more true to myself? How can I be more authentic? There's always an answer when we listen long enough. And so what in some cultures they call, or in some faiths or teachings, they call enlightenment, in the mysticism of Christianity, they call that fully human. To be fully human. To be fully real, like the story in the Velveteen Rabbit, right? The word for that in Latin is anthropo. Anthropo means to become fully human, meaning to fully integrate all that is opposite in us. It means to be so anchored in the truth that we more quickly experience the oneness of all life rather than separation. Parker Palmer says we're not only here to transform, but also to be transformed. So it's when the opposites begin to dissolve. Have you ever noticed, I'm sure you have, but where you can totally understand two opposing opinions, right? Or you can have compassion for somebody who's lived a horrible life. Or your heart can open to an understanding of people suffering and struggling. And then there is this idea to remember and to know that everything we need is already within us. As I shared last week, you already are love in action. There's nothing to add and nothing to subtract. It already is. You and I are already free. We just have these notions about why not and where not and when not, which is just the ego mind. But the truth of our very being has already arrived. And so remember, it's about becoming fully human, not being. It's a journey. We're all in a little bit of a different place at different times. And it's having that awareness and tuning in to that essence of our being, giving it more life, that creates a life of celebration, a life of everyday wonder. And so in the becoming, we can kind of look out through different eyes with a different story, right? For ourselves and each other. We can see that ourselves and others, we're all in a journey of becoming fully human. And so as we celebrate Lori today, that can be the reminder, that can be the mirror, that can be the inspiration. A celebration of a life well lived, a willingness to learn and grow, and remembering to seek everyday wonder in everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time. So we have some favorite music of Lori's. Bob Simon is in the house via MP3 or whatever. And so take this in because this song is about all of us.
If you let your guard down long enough, your mind just like will let itself on. If you open the door just a crack or two, you get a flash of what you've been missing. These days and days that you've turned
Lori for bringing forth all these shiny people to celebrate you today. And as Dr. Frankie said so beautifully, Lori is a mirror that's reflecting, is teaching, and God through her. And each one of you is reflecting that back. So do you want to shine some more? Yeah. Shine some more? Okay. This is our time of sacred exchange and practicing the law of circulation. So I invite you to take a deep breath in and hold it for as long as you can. You eventually have to breathe out, don't you? Yes. That's the law of circulation, everyone. We can't hold our breath forever. Our breath is a sacred gift. We breathe in, we breathe out. It is the same way with every gift that we have been given. Everything that we have, all that we are, is God working through us. Right? And God is absolute. God is unlimited. That's why we have a breath, and we know when we breathe out, we have a breath to take in. It's the same with all of the abundance of God that is in each one of you. So I invite you now to think about a gift that you know God has given you. Lori is here celebrating the gift of being a practitioner, taking this teaching and giving it to the world. You all have that to some degree, but what is a gift that you have to give? Something that God has given you in full abundance, that you are ready to shine out into the world. It could be your smile. It could be a kind word you're going to say to somebody at some point today. It can be the gift of song or music. Whatever that is, close your eyes and breathe that in. And when you're ready, breathe it out and shine it out into the world. You don't have to say anything. We're just allowing the law of circulation and the sacred exchange of the divine to work through us. And I see everybody shining with greater luster, with greater goodness, with all that God is. And now, we're going to take all of that and we're going to know that we have that to give to this community. Whether we give it through volunteering, whether we give it through being here on Sunday, whether we give it through living this teaching in the world, and whether we give it through our abundance, exchanging our currency, the energy of God with the world, because we know that God is unlimited. So just as we take a breath and give, we could take the gifts that are within us, whether it's what we have to do. Kim is over there making coffee. That is her gift to us today. And we all need coffee. And the center needs your abundance and your circulation. And if God is unlimited, you are here to give today. So we have many ways to give. You can join Kim in making coffee another week. We also have ways to give your wonderful abundance that moves through your life by the gift and the law of circulation. You can give. I'm talking money now. I say that word out loud because I love it. It's part of what God is, right? It's the way we live in the world. Currency. You can give it in our love offering basket. You could give it online. You can text to give, right? Dr. Frankie does that every Sunday. You can go to our Facebook page. You can give at our website. There's just as many ways to give as the gifts that you have. So I invite you once again, put your hands over your heart. Whatever you give today, in whatever way you give, may we know together that divine love blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we receive, and all that we give. Thank you, God. Amen.
Always needing proof, but the only right But I was told to listen. Oh, how it served me. And all the times I wanted to say something I knew was right, but I held it in and I saved the day 'cause I kept my mouth shut tight. 'Cause your life is good. It's like lines on the page, and you wear it on your face. What a beautiful story, like words never tell. We all kids being kids left the mark on me. Down my little one's finger, oh, it feels slow. And the way it looks at me, I can see you know that your life is good. It's like lines on the page, and you wear it on your face. Beautiful story, many words never tell.
Something handy once in a while. So religious science practitioners are the ones who have dedicated their lives, their time, their energies, and their intelligence to support others through mental and spiritual means and methods. It is the practitioner's business to uncover God in everyone, to reveal the truth about all humankind. To reach this stage takes at least 4 years of dedicated study and personal inner growth. It also takes continued commitment to walk consciously in the presence so that the time will come that even our shadow falling upon a person heals that individual. So Laurie, would you please come up? The sacred path that you walk is being honored here today. You have chosen to serve God, Centers for Spiritual Living, and Center for Spiritual Living Morristown by living fully the principles that we teach. You have followed your heart, and you have answered your calling. Being a licensed practitioner of religious science is a sacred obligation. It's a journey of love and a dedication of all aspects of your being. Do you promise to uphold the teachings of religious science in everything you say, in everything you do, and in everything you are? If so, please say, I do.
I do. Do you promise to be conscious of your own divinity and the divinity of others? If so, please say, I do. I do.
Do you dedicate yourself to those who come to you for assistance, unless you receive their express permission to do otherwise? If so, please say, I do.
Do you promise to abide by the Centers of Spiritual Living Practitioner Code of Ethics? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Do you dedicate yourself to the discipline of regular and faithful spiritual mind treatments so that you may expand your expression of your life in loving service to God and humankind? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Do you dedicate yourself to behold the divine perfection in all who may call upon you? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Do you dedicate yourself to constant recognition of the one spirit within all people, regardless of race, gender, faith, orientation, or station in life? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Will you continue to study and expand your consciousness that you may be more effective in your chosen way? If so,
I do.
And to the best of your ability, will you serve the needs of humanity? If so, please say, I will.
I will. So, sharing with my beloved sister now, practitioner sister now, just a few words about my own journey and how it has brought me to where I am, to be like an older sister to this beautiful soul. Becoming a licensed practitioner has been so transformative in my life. It has called me to a deeper and deeper understanding of myself, not only as a human being, but as a divine being. And it's a constant, continuous development of a healing consciousness. And that's what Lori is developing. And so the healing consciousness is something that I've developed over the years, and over the years of my study, I've developed a healing consciousness not only for myself, but for those that come to me for support. And so I know that there is this journey ahead that is going to be wonderful and beautiful for Lori, because I've lived it. So I just want to honor her.
And so, Lori, I now charge you, Lori Carlson, to go forth into the world, permitting those who come to you to be healed by your presence and by your example.
And it is my honor to place this upon your shoulders as we install you, as Reverend Frankie has charged you with becoming and being a licensed science of mind CSL practitioner with joy and honor.
Thank you.
Yes, you know I want to say something. I did not prepare what I'm going to say, but I just want to say I am so humbled and honored to see all of you here today and for all of you that are watching. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of my journey. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you. Every one of you has given me support, encouragement, has seen in me what I didn't even see in myself. And so I know that I am here because of the consciousness of all of you. And I am so grateful. And Reverend Frankie chose that song because shine is part of what I said at my graduation online. I want to be that light in a dark room. I want to shine my consciousness and bring joy to everyone that I can. I want to serve this community and the world in general. And I also thank each of you for your trust, for every moment of prayer, of conversation, of growth, of study, of everything. I mean, you are all in my heart, and I am here because of all of you, and I am forever grateful, and I look forward to going forth and honoring your trust and your respect by being of greater service and expanding my consciousness and continuing to grow, because this is a milestone, yes, but transformation is a continuing process, and I am open to continuing that process every day, and I am so grateful. And thank you.
So please join me in a closing celebratory treatment, everyone. Just allow yourself to feel that light that Lori is shining so beautifully in your own heart, in your own soul, in your own consciousness. For there is only one light, it is God's light. There is only one mind, it is God's mind. There is only one love, it is God's love. And that is what we see, recognize, celebrate in Lori. And that is what we see, celebrate, and recognize in each other and in ourselves. And how grateful we are to have this magnificent community that allows us to shine our light, that allows us to live this science of mind teaching, that allows us to radiate love and peace and joy and harmony out into the world. For that is what we step forth to do today. We are guided by this teaching. We are inspired by Lori's acceptance of this charge of being a religious science practitioner today. And each one of us carries that charge forth in our own way, knowing that this light shines out to bless this community, to bless this world, and beyond. All of the dimensions of love are present within us right now. That is where we live, multidimensionally. We live in harmony and unity with all of creation. And by allowing God to continue to ignite this truth in us, we continue to expand in consciousness and shine that light even brighter. So we say thank you to that divine light that shines forth. Thank you to each one of you that shines that light and love so brightly. Thank you to Lori for being that beacon and continuing to allow all of us to know that truth within ourselves. I release this word with so much gratitude, knowing that this word now spoken must be filled right here and right now, and it is done, and so it is. Amen.